Lake Pro Tackle fam, this guy right here, brand new to the store. This is the HIDEUP Coike 17mm. These actually come in a bigger size. We decided to start with the 17. I think people vibe with the 17 a little more. It's about 3 inches fully in diameter, but the ball part is going to be 17mm. What's really, really neat about this bait is it's going to be a very elastomer material, unlike the Q-bomb or just an OSP rubber dice. These guys right here are very, very indestructible, and they float extremely, extremely high floats. So even just weightless, it's just going to sit at the top of the water. If you even have a hook, any type of hook in it, it's just going to really sit there and float. So I've tried a bunch of different hooks out. No matter how much weight in hooks I put on here, it just seems to keep floating. So that got me thinking on different ways to rig this, different hooks to rig it up on, and I think I've come to a conclusion on which ones to use. You know, before we get going into the instructional, make sure to check out the Coikes as well as all the stuff linked in the description on lakeprotackle.com. And if you're new or not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. It definitely helps us out, as well as leaving a like on the video and leaving a comment down below. I know it's a lot to ask, but we greatly appreciate it. We're here to provide the best customer service possible. So if you do have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments. So let's go ahead and get started here. My hook of choice for the rigging of the Coike is going to be a G Finesse cover neko. This is a 1/0 size. You can also use a size 1, which is slightly smaller. I think you're going to get a little less hookup ratio just because the gap's a little smaller, but the 1/0 here really provides enough gap to where you can really get a good hook into the fish. Now, I've always been a little bit opposed to the cover neko because I don't do a lot of weedless neko fishing with these bigger hooks. I typically use my same standard GP Finesse size 2, and I rig it in the nose of the hook instead of using, you know, a weedless variety like this. So I've always been a little adverse to these, but I think this is the perfect hook for rigging the Coike right here. Now, the only other thing that you're going to need for my specific rigging option is going to be a Jika rig, also from Kamagatsu. Comes in a bunch of different sizes, depending on the water depth or the style of fishing that you're doing with the Coike here. Now, what's cool about the Jika rig weights is that you're able to put them on really just about anything thanks to this open snap here. Now, on this snap, it's not really a snap per se, but it is able to latch on to any, you know, round piece of hook or swivel, and that's where and why I chose the cover neko. Now, instead of putting the weight on where you tie and, you know, potentially having the weight wrap up on that, this cover neko allows me to put the Jika rig weight on the other piece of the swivel. So right where the hook is tied into, I'm going to attach my Jika rig weight onto the swivel, not the hook. So we're going to go ahead and pop it on there. It's really simple. Once you get the wire going in there, it's really easy to twist around. Once you can hold it, it's hard to do with one hand, but all I'm going to do, twist it on there, and there you go. So now I have my swivel attached to the hook, and in between where I tie and where the hook is, I've got that Jika rig weight. We'll see if I can kind of hold it up right there, and maybe you can get a good idea. So what this is going to do, I have one rigged up on some line already, and I'm going to show y'all. There we go, right here. That's what it's going to look like. Shoot, so hard. I need a background. Maybe I'll overlay it. That is exactly what it's going to look like. You can see there's a big gap in this cover neko, and all we're going to do for the rigging of this is, in the packaging for the Coikes, there is a little bar that goes straight through to suspend it. Make sure those tentacles aren't getting bent up or anything like that. We're going to take the point of the hook. We're going to go straight down into that hole and keep going straight. Now you can obviously offset it just a little bit for rigging purposes to ensure durability. I like to make sure the hook point goes all the way out the other side, completely straight if possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for y'all here, just like so. I'm going to pull it down right to that little keeper. I'm not going to go too far, or what that's going to do is really lock the Jika weight in line with the line. You don't want that. You want to have a Jika rig weight able to sit on the bottom, nice and comfortable, really free flowing, free moving. And that is going to allow the Coike to sit perfectly right there on the bottom. Now, the 1/8 ounce variety is going to give you a nice slow fall. Again, like I said, we've got bigger weights. You can do this even with a drop shot sinker. If you use something like a split ring, you can tie directly onto the swivel system there. Now, another great way to rig these is going to be with a free rig weight. I always have trouble saying that. These are the Decoy TX Dan sinkers. We've got a bunch of different sizes. When it comes to free rigs, this is by far one of my favorites. The 1/2 ounce and 3/8 ounce are going to be great if you want to keep your bait moving on the bottom. Now, the Coike, again, it is very buoyant, and on a free rig, as that weight goes down, this bait is just going to sit there, suspended in the water column, just sitting there enticing a bite. And with the heavier weights, you're able to keep that weight there, bring the bait down, let it go back up, and you can fish an area extremely effectively, especially as fish are getting on beds. But I do want to show you this a little bit closer up as well. The gap for that hook is very, very wide. You've got just a little bit of play, so even though the tentacles are, extending over the hook point, you've got a good area for hookup right there. You can see I left my finger there, and you've got a lot of area for the fish's lip to play around in. So that is another reason why I absolutely love this cover neko hook from Gamakatsu. We do have 4 different colors right now in the Coikes. They are going pretty fast. One of my favorites, of course, is going to be the Scupper Nog. It's kind of like a morning dawn, very vibrant in the water. And if you've got some really, really clear water, we have this guy right here. Very natural, very demure. And we've got green pumpkin and watermelon. So y'all make sure to check everything out in this video on lakeprotackle.com. I'm going to have links below. And what's really neat about this is that, again, very durable, and they'll last quite a long time. So make sure you keep the packaging for everything. They've got, as you take it apart and get to it, you can stick it back in the same way, and these will last for quite a long time. So with this rigging method, I don't think you'd lose any except breaking them off. But I hope you enjoyed the video, y'all. I greatly appreciate anyone that stayed around to the end. If you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. So thank you very much, y'all. We'll see you in the next episode at Lake Pro Tackle. See you guys.